This short clip is about sea level rise in Australia. The Australian Bureau of Statistics estimate that approximately 16 million Australians live within 50 kilometres of the coastline. All Australian state capital cities are located on the coast. It's its main channel for imports and exports and much of the nation's commercial activities. Australian coastlines provide recreational benefits and support a vast array of environmental values essential to biodiversity. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the global sea level stabilized about 2,500 years ago. Observations have now been made that show that the sea level has been rising since the early 1900s at a rate of about 1.7 millimeters per year. Yet sea level rise seems to be accelerating in recent times, as NASA's satellite data shows that it is rising at about 3.19 millimeters per year. It is projected in the IPCC's fifth assessment report that sea level rise will be greater this century. In Australia, sea level rose about 17 centimetres between 1842 and 2002, a rise in relative sea level of about 1.2 millimetres per year. Recent rates of sea level rise in eastern and southern Australia are similar to the global rate, according to the Department of the Environment. In Western Australia and North Australia, however, current rates are more than double the global rate. It's important to understand that global sea level rise isn't uniformly around the world. Some places rise at a significantly higher rate than other places, where some regions sea level is actually falling. Two major causes of global sea level rise are the loss of land-based ice due to increased melting and thermal expansion of the oceans, as water expands as it warms. Direct observations and datasets show that the planet has been getting warmer on average since 1950s, with the 10 warmest years in the 134-year record occurring since 2000. It is very likely that sea level rise in the 20th century has been largely caused by the observed increase in global surface temperature over the same period. Sea level rise due to thermal expansion of the oceans is calculated by complex models and supercomputers by looking at changes in oceanic temperature and salinity. Thermal expansion alone is responsible for sea level rise at a rate of approximately 1 millimeter per year over the past few decades. It is also evident that a large number of the world's glaciers and ice caps have been retreating in the past century. Estimates have been made that suggest that melting glaciers and ice caps have contributed to about 2 to 4 centimeters of the global sea level rise in the period of 1910 to 1990. As the climate continues to change and the planet gets warmer, the rate of sea level rise increases. The IPCC's fifth assessment report has a projection of about 60 to 95 centimeters of global sea level rise in 2100. This means that in 2100, the sea level rise is predicted to be about 60 to 95 centimeters. Rising sea levels will result in more powerful wave action to the shore, increased coastal erosion, increased extreme weather events, the expansion of mangroves into inland areas, loss of natural habitat, loss of coastal biodiversity as well. A report put together by the Australian Government Department of Climate Change in 2011 estimated the economical impact a sea level rise of 1.1 metres on Australian states. The report shows a total nationwide potential loss of approximately 300,000 residential homes and approximately $225 billion worth of infrastructure loss. But a rise of 1.1 metres isn't really predicted to happen in Australia for another 100 years. Yet the rate of sea level rise and climate change impacts are accelerating. Effective immediate climate change action on a global and national scale is critical to reducing future impacts such as sea level rise. Australia's coastal biodiversity, along with its residential commercial buildings, roads and railway infrastructure and economy, are at risk from climate change-induced sea level rise. Yet history shows that Australia's government is inconsistent with climate change action. Australia's democratic compulsory voting government stance on climate change suggests that the population is conflicted. More research is needed, investigating why political parties that are advocating climate change action are sometimes not elected.